Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Before I get started, go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notifications button so you can get the videos as soon as I put them out, which are typically around 9:30 Eastern Time AM. Next, I would not be talking about all women, even though it feels like it. And if it feels like I'm talking about you, you need to check yourself because I'm only talking about bad women that do bad things to good men. You're looking for the music to the intro and you want the link to the second channel, both are below in the description as well as the PayPal. A lot of guys have been asking how to donate to the channel. I'm getting emails. The PayPal is below in the description if you want to help a brother out. All right, today I'm going to be talking about the best things as an introvert that extroverted men and women will never understand. All right? That's what we're going to be talking about today. It's the introvert person. You guys have to understand, I spent majority of my life as an introvert, especially as a child. I've always moved alone. I've never played sports. I've always been into computers, and I've always been with things that challenge my mind. So I'm used to being alone to the point where I just maintained it my whole life. And to this day, I don't think I can ever live with anyone. I just do everything better by myself. I get a lot more accomplished and I get to chase a lot more dreams. But today I'm going to be talking about the introverted in you who are not that extroverted with your introvert. What do I mean? I'm an introvert extrovert, which means that I love being alone, but I do realize that I have to move around in real life and move around extrovertly at times in order to get things done. But a lot of you guys, you're introverts no matter what. Even when you go in public, you do not want to be seen, and I can relate to that. So today we're going to be talking about what are the best qualities that us as introverts have that the average extrovert or extroverted man and woman would never understand. Let's get to it. First, we're comfortable alone. The difference between an introvert and an extrovert always feel like they have to be around somebody. So when you always have to be around somebody, you're always adapting to new type of energy. Energy is always conquering you. So you'll find more people that like to always be out and going places and being around people. They're always in some type of drama with people that they call friends or loved ones. And the reason why is because when people get sick of looking at each other, they get sick of being around each other, they start to become very combative. And I tell guys this all the time. If you watch me every day, the cycle is going to be when you first start watching me, you're going to love me. Then you're going to get to the point where you're going to be like, all right, and you're starting to say the same thing over again. And then you say, oh, man, and I don't agree with you and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, then you're unsubscribing and then you find another person to follow. Well, it's the same cycle when you're dealing with extroverted people is that they get around each other. Everything is cool. Then at some point of the relationship, they're arguing and fighting with somebody that they call a best friend. A lot of introverts, your only extrovertedness is online because you get to do and say things that you can't say in public. So understand, the beauty about it is that you love being alone, so you avoid a lot of drama that would happen in real life. All right? So people in real life, you avoid their drama because you like being alone, but you find yourself dramatic with people online. Next, our house becomes a haven. What do we mean? We start to adjust our living spaces to be comfortable. You make your bathroom comfortable. You make your living room comfortable. You make your bedroom comfortable enough for you to be in there all the time. This is why a lot of introverts have multiple monitors in their rooms. You have multiple space in your room to control your area. So as an introvert, your home is actually set up as your sanctuary. That's a good thing and that's a bad thing. What makes it good is that you're not in a miserable space. Introverts find a way to keep our energy clean enough to where we can sit in the same room for long periods of time. Where is it bad is that if we sit inside that room for too long, we will become completely disconnected from reality and slumped inside of a matriotic world. Matrix, all right? It's good because you avoid a lot of drama. You become comfortable with yourself. You adjust your lifestyle to being inside the house. The downfall, you have a disconnect with reality. Next, We never have to be the life of the party. That's the beauty about us. Extroverted people are always competing with other people. So they're going to compete with clothes. They're going to compete with cars. They're going to compete with houses. They're going to compete with who's the funniest. They're going to compete with who's the most popular, which places a lot of extroverted people under a lot of pressure, which is why a lot of extroverted people have more mental issues from trying to be more dominant to other people and more popular amongst other people. But when it comes to the introvert, you don't go through any of that drama, because you're not required to be the life of the party. Nobody's depending on you to have the latest pair of shoes. Nobody's depending on you to have the nice watch or the nice clothes. You don't have to go out and keep buying stuff to keep up with the masses to impress the Joneses. You actually get to save a lot of your money. You don't waste your money. I know introverts that have way more money than extroverts, but they spend it in other places. They spend it on boats, or they may spend it on an idea. I've seen guys waste $200,000 on one of their ideas, and others would be like, well, why didn't you go buy this car? You could have had a house with that money. You could have did this with that money. But an introvert, we're like, no, it's all about the experience, what we do with our money. Our money is not to create a fantasy world for someone else. Our money is used for us to enjoy our life. That's the difference between us and extroverted people. Extroverted people are always spending money to change the idea of what someone thinks about them. But introverts, we're always spending money to give ourselves some type of excitement to life. Next, we're the best listeners. We don't do that much talking. An introvert is the best listener. He's always paying attention to detail. An introverted person can always catch a person in a lie. They can always catch a person trying to backtrack. They can always catch a person trying to contradict themselves, even if we catch ourselves, because we're not perfect. So when it comes to the extroverted person spends a lot of time trying to cover a lie up with another lie and paint false illusions with words. Extroverted people have to paint these pictures with words because they want someone to hear them and start to adjust who they are. They always got to be argumentative. They always got to be combative. The whole time they're being combative, trying to prove themselves to society, the introverted person sits back and studies their moves and studies their actions. We call this knowing how to move in a room full of vultures. You're not quiet because you're beta. You're quiet because you're observing your environment. The introvert is going to be able to spot the bad person in the crowd. The extroverted person will be blinded by the lights. Next, we learn to think before we talk. I used to be like that. But the more extroverted I became, the more I've learned to just say whatever it is I want to say off the top of my head. It works out better than me, but I still have a lot of introverted traits. And a lot of you introverts, you're going to stop and pay attention to what you're going to say before you say it. That's the good thing. When you say something, it's going to have a lot of meaning. You're going to have a lot of definition behind it. It's going to be very understood. The downfall, sometimes, most of the time, when introverts go to talk and speak intelligently, they sound like a smartass. When you sound like a smartass, people typically don't want to be around you because they're intimidated by the language that you're speaking. When introverts start to speak in an intellectual language, others cannot understand them, which causes them to be looked at as weird, creepy, or just a lame. Those are just facts. I've learned that when straddling the fence between introverts and extroverts, because I was an extroverted person that always hung around nerds, so I always had two sets of friends. I've always had the cool guys that smoked weed, talked shit, did bad shit, but then I also had my nerdy friends that we played video games, we talked about stocks, we talked about different type of stuff that was happening in life. But when I would take my nerd friends around my cool friends, they would call those friends lames. And then I would have to tell my cool friends like, yo, listen, those are my friends. I ain't gonna let you talk about them like that. And it would be the other way around if he was talking about you. I was always able to check them dudes. Why? Because I knew how to think before I talked. I understood the people that I was with, and I knew if I would be biased to everything, it would destroy my character. So understand, extrovert, you think before you talk. You have a lot of meaning. Extroverted people are just talking to dominate or to appease the crowd. Next, introverted friends get better quality friends. Why? Because you know what type of people you want to be around. The worst thing you could do is be an introverted person who wants to go extroverted so bad that you end up around the wrong crowd. And that's what a lot of kids have done who are naturally introverts, who want to be extroverts real bad. They jump into a crowd of gangs. You see a lot of that online right now. A lot of these good kids who are introverts, they getting involved in gangs and they getting out here getting themselves killed because they jumping inside the wrong crowd. Well, most introverts who are introverts for a long period of time that start to learn themselves, they say, hey, if I'm a nerd, maybe I need to have nerdy friends. Or if I'm into stocks and I'm into video games, maybe I need to go hang out with those type of friends. So your modern day introvert recognizes a lot what his crowd is supposed to be. And when he gets friends that are into the same thing as him, he gets more loyal friends. But an extroverted introvert, a person that's trying to just hurry up and become an extrovert, typically ends up with the wrong crowd of friends that are going to use them because they're always looking for the good in them, because they still have introverted tendencies with a feminine mindset. You guys will learn that language later. But introverted guys, we may have our circle the size of a dot, but the circle that we have is good quality. Next, last but not least, we're reliable friends. And the reason why we're reliable friends is because we pick and choose who we're going to say is our friend. We pick and choose and say, all right, I've already tested this person. I've already tested that person. We test everybody in our life. So after we've tested you and we gave you the stamp that you're inside the circle, we're going to be there for you because we're going to need you to be there for us, which is why being an introvert has the best qualities now. Nowadays, as an extroverted person, which is what you see a lot of Instagram, you see a lot of these platforms, everybody want to be seen, everybody want to be popular, but they find themselves adjusting themselves to people who are awkward and they're selling them souls for fame and likes. But as an introvert, you can see all of this happening, which is why we live the best life. We don't get too caught up in it. This is Anthony Spade. Comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. Hasta la vista.